I really saw all of the individuals and team members who participated in stabilizing them. I saw their efforts come to life because the victims took him on, and the jury was amazed at how strong they were. And each victim walked out of court so glad that they had come in and faced him and told their story. And the jury convicted in lightning speed. And it was greatly because of the stabilizing process and the victim-centered approach. So the tension is there, but we're working on wrapping our arms around it and putting the victim first while achieving prosecution success.
Maggie?
Cool. I wanted to point out one thing that I think is unique about this law when it was created is that it was so much of it was done right at the very beginning. And I think that's in part because one of the largest trafficking cases actually was worked on by interagency collaboration before there was an anti-trafficking law. And I think a lot of the needs and mistakes and lessons were learned and were informing the new law that came about. And so right from the beginning, there was a strong emphasis on not only interagency collaboration, but also working with non-governmental organizations, local police, other sectors that were necessary to effectively both prosecute the crime, serve the victims, and help the victims get reestablished safe and feel safe living in the U.S. So part of what HHS's responsibility under the Trafficking Victims Protection Act is to help assist victims, not only to help identify them so that they can be rescued, but help assist them as they adjust as new Americans in the U.S. That's part of the reason why it's housed within the Office of Refugee Resettlement at HHS. They're not refugees, but they have similar traumatic experiences. They're starting life anew. They're unfamiliar with a lot of the needs. So part of they may be coming from countries where they cannot trust some of the people they're asked to trust in the U.S., like law enforcement. So working with the NGOs became a critical aspect of non-governmental organizations of working with victims because they could help them understand, talk them through it, telling them that they can trust who they can trust, and allowing them to open up and, as Karima mentioned, feel more empowered to participate in the process of putting their traffickers behind bars, which contributes to their safety and protects potential future victims.
Great. Well, I wanted to ask Dave and return to you, Maggie, about what your sense is about the experience over the last few years of government agencies working with partners outside the government to fight this problem. What has worked, what hasn't in terms of best practices of government working with NGOs and nonprofits, and what is the potential for working with the corporate world, business community, those whose work, is kind of the soil in which human trafficking grows, or those who have special competencies that they could share. Dave?
Sure. I think it's grown tremendously, and I think with experience we've gotten better at it. And I think that's the issue is we must, and I can't say this enough, the FBI cannot do this work on our own. HSI cannot do this work on its own. Department of Labor, HHS, none of us. We have to partner with one another. But moreover, we have to partner with non-government organizations, victim service specialists, immigration rights, immigration aid services. We must do those partnerships. And frankly, sometimes those partnerships haven't worked well. And in the community, there's an underlying, I don't know if it's distrust, but frankly, a misunderstanding of each other's roles. And I think that's, if I'm an advocate for anything, it's an advocate for let's actually develop the relationship so that we can partner. Because in the end, we have the exact same goal. Our goal is the rescue and freedom of